This is the Diamond Hogs Podcast with Mason Choate and Robert Stewart.
Welcome to the Diamond Hogs Podcast. I am your host, Mason Choate, joined by Robert Stewart. We are live from Hoover, Alabama, and Arkansas just lost in the elimination game to Florida. So they go 0-2, and they're done. 0-2 in Q, that's what it is, 0-2 barbecue. And so, unfortunate for Arkansas, they didn't look good against Alabama. They didn't look good against Florida. And now you're looking at this team. They're not going to host a regional. Obviously, they won't host a super regional. Do we think
they
that
do
they'll
have a chance to host a super if things go awry, but
but that's
not default.
Yes. Okay.
Obviously.
Okay. I'm sorry. But do we even think that they're going to win a regional game at this point?
Oof. Considering how poorly they've played away from home all year, I mean, I don't care if the first game's a neutral site game because it's a 2-3 game. I don't think so. I mean, at this point, keep your expectations low and be pleasantly surprised if something changes.
Yes. Robert, I'm going to need you to speak into that mic a little bit more, okay?
Speaking like this?
Yes. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to get to how the Florida game happened, how Arkansas lost, kind of talk about some stuff. Dave Van Horn, he was there. He did coach the team. We talked to him after the game.
Does not have cancer.
He does not have cancer. That was a big ordeal that we're probably not going to get into because it's not our problem. But, yeah, so Arkansas loses to Florida 7-5, and we're going to get to that. But before we do, Matt Morris State Farm, where can you get good neighbor service and surprisingly great insurance rates? At State Farm. Because State Farm agent Matt Morris is your one-stop shop located in Central Arkansas for the service you deserve at the price you want. Stop looking around. State Farm agent and University of Arkansas alum Matt Morris is ready to help those in the natural state. All you got to do is call him at 501-568-3222 for your surprisingly great rates today. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants are subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
And don't forget about our good friends at Southern Lawn Service. They serve the greater Central Arkansas area, just like Matt Morris. And they specialize in landscape maintenance for apartment complex, communities, and industrial sites. If you need a landscaping project done for any residential or commercial location, Southern Lawn Service has you covered. Just like they do with drainage solutions, new installs, landscape remodel, landscape design, hardscapes such as retaining walls and paver patios. They've got all of those and more. If you need bulk landscape supplies, mulch, dirt, gravel, landscape rock, sod, they've got all of that on site at 1 Lee Road in Conway, Arkansas. You can go see them or give them a call at 501-514-3463. Thank you, Southern Lawn Service.
Okay, so let's get into this. Connor Nolan, he did start the game against Nick Pogue from Florida. So Florida scores 2 in the second, and but Nolan got out of it. He did well getting out of that, and then you look at it. Florida scores 3 in the fifth. Then Arkansas comes back, hits a home run, a pair of back-to-back solo homers in the top of the sixth. Then Florida's like, okay, whatever, and then they score 2 more. So then it's a 7-2 game. Did have a little rally there in the ninth. Arkansas, Jalen Battle scored on, a pass ball it was?
Yes.
And then you had the 2-run homer from Braden Webb, made it a 7-5 game, but all 3 of those runs scored with 2 outs. So it was just a matter of time, and Florida finished it out, got the win. They advance. Arkansas is going home, and we'll see what regional they land up.
And Arkansas is not staying home.
No, they're not staying home. They're going to go home for a little bit, and then wherever they end up, that's where they're going to travel to. But I don't know, man. Connor Nolan, who's supposed to be your ace, you get 4 2/3, gives up 6 hits, 5 runs, all earned, had 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. It feels like that's a normal stat line for Connor Nolan now.
Yeah, I mean, we heard from Michael Turner in the post-game press conference. He was talking about, doesn't really have different stuff. It's just maybe the scouting report's just not such a secret anymore.
I did ask the Florida players that we got, and it was, who was it? Colby Halter and
Caglianone.
Caglianone, yeah. So we talked to them. I asked him, the second time you seen Nolan, the first time he really got you guys, They said he's got a good slider, but aside from that, like his fastball wasn't really working, and they took advantage of it.
Right, and Turner was talking about like they try to rely on the curveball a lot more when the fastball's not working. The fastball wasn't working today, and it showed once again. I mean, how many times has he given up 5 earned runs in a game now? It feels like a lot. Did it in Tuscaloosa last weekend. Pretty sure he did it in Auburn the week before. Yep, sure did. Well, 5 runs, 3 earned. And then before that, who was it? Ole Miss? 4 earned runs in 8 innings. So it's like, you can't trust your ace. And, we were talking to Phil Elson a little bit about this after the game. Nolan was never cut out to be an ace. I think that's sort of showing now. And, the loss of Peyton Paulette is really starting to hurt, it feels like.
Yeah, I think it's been hurting them for probably a month or so now. And you look at it, Evan Taylor comes in, gives you a third of an inning. They bring in Tigert, and apparently he was sick. He wasn't feeling
nauseous,
well.
Yeah.
So they decided to pull Tigert. Matt Hobbs Matt Hobbs went and visited Tigert. Tigert's like, no, I'm fine. And then I think it was Michael Turner who was like, no, we need to get you out of here. And then they decided to pull Tigert out. He did give up 2 earned. Was that on 1 home run?
There was a solo shot by Fabian to lead off the frame, and then he hit a couple of batters. The first guy scored on a single by Halter.
Okay. And then after that, you saw Vermillion, Hagen Smith, and Wiggins. They all combined for 2 2/3. I mean, it was good that you got your starters out there, give them some live pitching, but by that point, I mean, aside from 3 runs in the top of the ninth, the game was over.
Yeah, I mean, using 3 starters in one game, that pretty much raises the white flag. They're not trying to win that game anymore. They just want to get their guys out there because, what if they had come back? Who would they have started on Saturday?
Yeah. So another thing with this game, Arkansas doesn't get a runner in scoring position until that 9th inning when Jalen Battles got to second.
On a defensive indifference.
Yes,
he didn't even earn it.
It wasn't a steal. That was Arkansas's first runner in scoring position with literally 1 out left in the game.
Right. I mean, they had the 2 solo shots to start the 6th, but that's not runners on base.
No.
I mean, I feel like I've talked about this on this podcast before. It's like home runs are great. I mean, DVH said it himself. Home runs are obviously good, but I mean, you can't start a rally with solo home runs. Not everybody in the lineup is going to hit a solo shot.
Yeah.
You got to get guys on base. You got to move guys up. They did get guys on base. They had 3 leadoff singles, a leadoff reached on an error, and a leadoff walk. So outside of the home run, 5 different innings, they got the leadoff guy on board. Only in the 9th did he get past first base.
Wow. I mean, you only had 1 hit outside of your top 4 hitters, which was Braden Webb, who hit leadoff, Caden Wallace, Michael Turner, Chris Lanzilli. Turner had 2 hits. The rest had 1 apiece. And then Robert Moore in the 7 hole had a hit. But outside of that, I mean, you're looking at it, let's see, a lot of strikeouts. Braden Webb, 2 strikeouts. Brady Slavens, 2 strikeouts. Jalen Battles, 2 strikeouts. Robert Moore, 2 strikeouts. Stovall and Gregory each with 1. It was 10. Arkansas struck out 10 times in that game.
Yeah. Going off what you just said there about the top 4, they were 5 for 17 combined. Bottom 5, 1 for 17.
Yeesh.
We talked to Kevin O'Sullivan after the game too, right? Florida's head coach. He was like, they've got a long lineup. There's not really any cause for concern. Kevin, respectfully, there is.
I posted that video on Twitter because I knew that would be good for Razorback fans to hear. This is another head coach who you just played saying there's nothing to be concerned about. But as people who've watched this team all year, we've covered them closely. I think there's a lot to be concerned about. I think the starting pitching is just gone. It's toast. At this point, this is the hardest thing because we say all this right now because of what has happened in the past 2 weeks-ish. And they could come out in the regionals next weekend and look amazing. But as of right now, the starting pitching's gone, and this team cannot score unless they're hitting home runs.
Right. I mean, we know nothing about what's going to happen next week. We talked about it. We don't think they're going to win a game, but they could surprise us. I mean, there are two teams in particular that come to mind, right? 2021 Mississippi State was the 3 seed, just like Arkansas, lost both games. I mean, everybody knows they won the national title last year. And then what was the other team? 2012 Arkansas?
2012 Arkansas.
That was the last time they went 0-2 in Hoover?
Last time they went 0-2 in Hoover, they went and they won a regional at Rice, and then they won the Waco Super Regional against Baylor, and they made it to the College World Series.
It can be done. Not saying it will. I don't think it will, but it can be done.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing because I don't want to. I don't know because I was gonna say like I don't want to sit here and say that this team's done, the season's over because it's not, but it's very discouraging what we've seen, and the game against Alabama was just tough because now it's like you lost 3 games in a row to that team. Let's see, we got some fresh blood tomorrow, Florida, and then Florida comes out and they score 7 against you. And you only score 5. Florida won that game, and Arkansas was never in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I talked. I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but last week I talked about a dream scenario for Arkansas would be running through all the teams that it lost series to, and it got 2 of those teams it lost series to and lost another game to both of them.
Yeah, and the biggest thing was coming into this weekend or this week. It was like Arkansas needs to win 1 or 2 games, likely 2, and then you're probably hosting a regional. And then what do? They lose to Alabama, they lose to Florida, and they're going home.
They've gotten themselves closer to 3-seed material.
Yeah.
Than hosting.
And going into last weekend's series against Alabama, there's still a chance they could host a super regional. You sweep Alabama and win a game or 2 in Hoover, and you're there. Now you're looking at it, they've lost 4 games in a row. 3 to Alabama, 1 to Florida. And as of now, we're looking at an Austin regional according to D1Baseball.com. A lot can happen between now and then, but I don't know, man. I don't want to sit here and trash players, trash coaches. It was a weird week in Hoover. Weather pushed stuff back. Dave Van Horn apparently had cancer. But that's not true at all. He had food poisoning, according to the man himself. His own words, food poisoning. He said that whatever he ate, if any of the players had it, they wouldn't have been playing. So
right. Also, want to clear that up just so everyone's clear. The quote was, there was a chance of surgery, and someone misheard it as cancer surgery. It is not cancer surgery. He does not have cancer. I feel like we owe the public an explanation there because whoever tweeted that did not give the public an explanation.
No, yeah. So it was on the Arkansas radio pregame show. Phil Elson was talking with Dave Van Horn. Said there was a chance of surgery. He didn't have surgery. He didn't have cancer. He's not gonna have cancer surgery, from what we know. We're just going off of what he said. And then we found out. We talked to him after the game. He said he was fine. He just hates losing. So,
and he won't be eating salad again.
Yes. So that is that's the rundown on how Dave Van Horn is doing. A lot of people were asking about that on Thursday, and we found out Friday that that's what happened. So as far as moving forward with this team, we've kind of hit it. There's people ask me, what does your starting rotation look like for the regional? I think Will McIntyre is probably your first pitcher you're throwing. Maybe Cole Ramage. You can't throw. I just don't. I don't know if you can throw Nolan, Wiggins, or Smith now.
I think it does not matter how long a pitcher tends to go. I think whoever looks best in the bullpen, maybe it's Brady Tigert. Whoever looks best in the bullpen on Thursday starts on Friday. Maybe it's Brady Tigert. Maybe it's Evan Taylor. Maybe it's Hagen Smith. I don't know. You have to start with the hottest pitcher and hope that you can get outs from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because whatever they're doing right now is clearly not working.
I agree. That's why I say it probably can't be Nolan,
Yeah, I mean, like you said, starters out the window at this point.
Yeah. I don't know what else to add to this, Like, we're going to pack up, we're going to go home, and wherever they have a regional, that's where they're going to go, and We'll see where it takes them. But as of this moment, I don't know if Arkansas is going to win another baseball game this year.
There is that possibility.
It doesn't, like I was telling you today, like it feels like at this point, it feels like anytime they go out there, they're going to lose. And it feels like in the way they play too, like they don't play, they're not, you can just watch a team and tell if they want to win a game or not. It didn't feel like they wanted to win today.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it both games in the press box. Like it's difficult to watch. And I think, especially with the Razorback softball team right now, you can tell that Arkansas is playing uninspired baseball based on how inspired their softball counterparts are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. A lot to think about. It's gonna be a week of probably a lot of people saying this team's done and the season's over. And look, I hope more than anybody that they come out next weekend and they shake some heads in whatever regional it is.
Right. I would love to keep doing this.
Yeah.
But it seems grim right now.
It does. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say the season's over, but it felt like that was the end of the season. The loss to Florida. I know there's baseball to be played.
Still time.
Still time. But until then, we'll get our regional preview out probably Friday, right? You're going to play Friday.
Yeah.
So we'll get our regional preview out, but until then, we're not even going to do an SEC tournament recap because Arkansas lost twice. And we recapped Alabama, we recapped Florida. There's nothing else for us to talk about, There's no point in doing an SEC tournament recap because Arkansas did nothing in the SEC tournament.
We saw Tennessee last night. They looked pretty good. So, I mean, at this point, we kind of feel like they're the favorite. But we're not special in that.
Yeah.
We've just seen them now. So.
Yeah, it was cool seeing Ben Joyce throw 103.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah. So, things are bad when you're here to cover Arkansas and you just want to watch Tennessee play.
Yep.
So, yeah. Regional preview coming out Friday. You have anything else to add?
Well, maybe we decide to do it early. I don't know. But stay tuned for updates on Twitter.
Yes. Okay.
You've been listening to the Diamond Hogs podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Choate Mason and at drstew32.